My name is Jordan and I'm a senior designer at LEGO, and I designed the LEGO UCS Star Wars Y-wing. The way I would describe the Y-wing is it's a really cool bomber, sci-fi spaceship that has one of the most important jobs in the original film of flying down the trench. For people that are more LEGO fans, this has a lot of really interesting building techniques and a lot of detailing for people that really like doing all those little details. The idea behind it is that it used to be completely armored, but then because it kept getting damaged in the movies and stuff, they just went, we don't need all this, it's just causing so much weight. So that's why it's really thin, the pylons and everything are just exposed, all the details are exposed. And that makes for a really interesting model to build because we get to do all the greebling and small detail effects that I actually really like building in sets.
My name is Matty O'Neill, and I am a graphic designer on the LEGO Star Wars team, which means I deal with all the minifigures, stickers, and any decorated elements that might go in a set. I, before working at LEGO, had a huge LEGO Star Wars collection. I love collecting the minifigures, so really being able to be the guy that now gets to create them is a big deal for me.
So I printed off a blueprint from Lucasfilm and tried to match it as closely as possible to some of the bricks that we have so I could get a sense of the scale. Then I would just start building. We have basically aisles full of bricks. You just go and take whatever you want and just sit at your desk or sit at the building tables with other colleagues and just like chat and everything. When I'm struggling to build in a detail or something out of bricks, we would usually use a sticker or a decoration. So I would go and speak to the graphic designer and say, okay, we're trying to achieve this look. How could we do that? And then we would sit down together and collaborate on how we do the graphics, what control panels do we need, how the minifigures are going to look. And I think that makes for a much better product in general.
For a graphic designer, the first step in the design process is always gathering reference images. What I like to do most is to go directly to the films, take a bunch of screenshots, because I find that is the way the audience has experienced the vehicle. You get to see what details are accentuated, and yeah, it's also a good excuse to watch the movies at work. So that's always a bonus. I think this set is gonna make a really awesome piece to have up on your shelf. It comes with some pretty nice exclusive minifigures. You get the gold leader, John Dutch Vander, and you also get the droid R2 BHD, aka Tubi. I like that he has a nickname. I think Tubi is the shiniest astromech droid we've ever made, so maybe that's attractive to some people.
For the details, I like to try and get them wherever you look on the model, there's a detail that you can pick and point out. So I've tried to make details 360 on the model, so even the underside, which is usually quite hidden, has some details like the landing gears and some laser cannons and things like that. You might be surprised that we don't actually build a lot in the computer. I've had the experience where a lot of people question that and say, oh, you must be building in the computer all the time. Like, no, we always build physically because that's the best interpretation of what we're doing. There's no physics in the computer to simulate that. You can't tell if something's going to be stable if you're building in the computer. We do put stuff in the computer, but I always try and build physically when I can.
Different than the model designers who work with all sorts of different pieces, the graphic designer essentially works with one piece, which is computer software. And so what we'll do is look at the model, pick out the graphical elements that we think would best suit the reference image, and then we just make it so with the digital software. And that way, it's very different thinking, I would say, than what a model designer would do.
So the best part of this model was actually being able to create the turbojet engines on the side of the Y-wing, because they're pretty tricky. They are spherical, and LEGO is primarily blocky. So it was quite difficult to get the kind of spherical look of the turbo engines, whilst keeping the structure of the pylons that run along the top of it to the end. We changed some colors for this model as well. We had a printed cockpit and some cables in brown to simulate the rusty feel of the pipes and everything. When I was around 20, I saw like an X-wing in the store and I was like, I'm having that. So I bought Lego again and kind of rediscovered the magic of playing and building with Lego, and then, I still never thought it was a job that I could do, but this is a really awesome job and I can't imagine doing anything else.
Jordan is a pretty big Star Wars fan. I mean, he displays it pretty proudly on his arm there with his big tattoos. But, you know, I have my Star Wars chops on the inside, so, you know. I find being a fan of the property is essential to what I do every day. It brings the excitement, brings the passion, and I feel like all that has to transfer directly into my work.
The reason I like Star Wars is I love fantasy and I love sci-fi, so it's kind of a nice combination of both. It's a great story. The designs and everything, Ralph McQuarrie designs and all the characters are amazing, and it's made for one of the best villains in cinema history and some of the most iconic scenes in cinema history.
I think Star Wars is as big as it is because it's a great story, and I think people tend to find themselves in one character or another, regardless of who you are. Maybe you're Chewie, maybe you're Jabba the Hutt.
Okay, that one kind of worked.
When I was a little kid, I'd walk into the store and go down the Lego aisle and say, oh, I want that, oh, I want that, oh, I want that. But now it's like you walk into the same situation and you're like, oh, I worked on that, oh, I worked on that, oh, I worked on that.
So I think seeing this model finally in stores is going to be a big deal because it has been around 3 years in the making. Now it's finally coming out, and it's really nice to see on the shelves with the new box art we're using for the Ultimate Collector Series.
I love the new UCS style we have on the boxes. It's black, sleek, stylish. It's a very exclusive feeling and very cool, and I think very desirable for lots of fans.
The best advice for building this particular set is it is a big set. Take your time and enjoy it. Don't try and rush through it, and I think enjoy the different techniques and the different greebling and details and stuff, and just take it nice and easy. So I'd say for anyone who wants to become a LEGO model designer, the best advice I can give you is keep building, keep being creative. You don't necessarily have to have a degree in design to be a model designer. You need to have passion for what you're doing. I love Star Wars, so this is a passion project for me. It feels really good being able to create models that kids are going to play with and grow up with, and hopefully those sets are going to put them into some form of creative industry. We often meet kids on exhibitions with LEGO, and the kids kind of look up to you as superheroes, and I think that's a really nice feeling. Being able to shape kids' creativity is, you know, you can't put words to it really.